Welcome back to another edition of the Futbol Forever podcast, a podcast where we talk about the Liga MX and everything going on around Mexican football. Yes, sir, we're back. We're back with some more Liga MX and Futbol Mexicano news. The adventure begins, baby. The European adventure begins for Chucky and for Guty. Once again reunited now at PSV, and they defeated Den Haag 7-0. They were the visiting team. That is insane, but what a great debut for Eric Gutierrez, who scored, who gave an assist to none other than his best friend, El Chucky Lozano, and they got to do that fusion celebration from Dragon Ball Z. I mean, that was just a dream debut, I'm sure, for him. And then a few days later, you're playing in Camp Nou versus Barcelona with Messi, Luis Suarez. Insane stuff, and all side by side next to your best friend. I mean, that stuff. That's dreams. Those are goals, man. # those are real goals right there. But anyway, yeah, we'll talk about the Chucky and Guty adventure beginning. And then also we're going to discuss some of the Liga MX matches, the most interesting ones. You have La Máquina losing their undefeated status 2-0 at the hands of Necaxa. You have Chivas, man. Chivas winning their last 4 out of 5 games, defeating Monterrey 4-2 on the road. And then América defeating Monarcas in a game that could have easily ended 5-0 in favor of América. It was a 2-1 win, nonetheless, win for América, but it got a little nerve-wracking, a little tight at the end. So, anyways, let's begin, boys. Yes, we're gonna start with the Chucky and Guty adventure. 7-0 win. So this is the good, man. This is the good, because not all of it was good. We all saw what happened against Barcelona on Tuesday. But hey, on the weekend everything was good, man. El Chucky scored his goal. I think it was on the 18th minute. Chucky was in the right place, right time. A terrible defensive mistake. Passing sequence by Den Haag. The ball was left for Chucky, and he finished it off easily, man. But the real Chucky Guty adventure began on the 70th minute. It officially began on the 70th minute when Eric Gutierrez made his European debut coming off the bench. That's when it officially began, and it didn't take long, man. It didn't take long to get going, man. They wasted no time. 3 minutes after his debut, in the 73rd minute, Guty serves a beautiful long ball for Chucky Lozano to beat the defense, chip the keeper, and get his brace, his second goal of the match. What a pass from Eric Gutierrez, man. That was a thing of beauty, and the finish from Chucky, normal from Chucky, man, at this point. But yeah, man, they had already done similar plays to this in Pachuca, so it was very reminiscent of their earlier days in the Liga MX, man. But Guty was not done. He was not done with his action in this match. 2 minutes after his assist to Chucky Lozano, he scores. You saw it, man. I know you saw it. I know you saw it on Twitter. You saw it on YouTube. A golazo with a shot from outside of the box. Oh, man. But, this should come to no surprise. If you followed Guty's career with Pachuca, he frequently scores golazos like this one, man. He right before he left, if I'm not mistaken, right before he signed with PSV, he scored a golazo against Puebla. It was a volley, I think, and I think it was at the top of the box or right outside the box. So, he's used to these kinds of goals. The kid, he has a shot on him, man. The kid has a shot on him. So, yeah, man, dream debut for Eric Gutierrez, a goal and assist. The assist was to your best friend. You got to share the pitch with him. You're now in Europe, and in a few days, you're facing FC Barcelona. That's when we get to the bad. Oh, man. Barcelona 4-0 over PSV in the Champions League group stage match. Match 1. But yeah, of course, man. We saw this one coming. This match should come to no surprise. This result should come to no surprise to anyone. Messi, a hat-trick hero with a stunning a stunning free kick golazo. I mean, that was breathtaking, man. And you see him walking up to the spot where he's going to take the free kick. You see him, fixing the ball, giving it the right angle, seeing where he's going to hit it, and you just know the guy's going to score it. Like, you just know he's going to score, and there's nothing you can do about it. I know Chucky Lozano was one of the ones hiding behind the wall to make sure that Messi didn't attempt to take the free kick under the wall. So Chucky was blocking the bottom side, I guess you can say, of the wall. And this is a tactic, I guess, that you've seen a lot of players do it since the World Cup. It's very frequent in the Liga MX now. And you saw Cruz Azul, the goal scored against Cruz Azul this past weekend. It was, I think it was Mati Fernandez, Necaxa scored it. It was the first goal of the match, and it was under the wall. It was in a free kick. So Chucky was back there, making sure that Messi didn't get any ideas of shooting that free kick under the wall as the wall jumps. But no, that didn't matter to Messi. The wall jumped. He hit it over the wall. The ball curved beautifully into the top, left, right corner, something like that. It was the top right corner. It was just a thing of beauty. The curve on that ball, the spin. Oh my goodness, man! That it's just not fair, man. But like I said, it was no surprise. Messi, as soon as he was walking up to the ball, you knew he was gonna freaking score. But honestly, before that, I think that was in the 30th minute. Before Messi scored that free kick golazo, PSV had looked decent. They had looked well for those 30 minutes or so. Gaston Pereiro even had a chance to score for PSV early in the match, but his shot went over the crossbar. We saw a good amount of Chucky Lozano, just a little bit of Guty, unfortunately, who came into the match in the 82nd minute. But at least it's nice that he got to make his debut in the Champions League. What a stage to make your debut in Camp Nou versus Barcelona, Messi and friends. So yeah, back to Chucky, because he's the one that really had the more playing time in this match. Chucky had some chances. He had some opportunities to disrupt the Barcelona defense. He had that nice showcase of speed, and I think it was in the 21st minute where he beat Jordi Alba in a foot race. I think you'll remember that one. It was a long ball. They threw it ahead of both players, and it was a foot race, man. It was Chucky versus Jordi Alba, and we all saw who is faster. That's one thing that you can say. Chucky is definitely faster than Jordi Alba. He beats him to the ball, but ultimately, once he had possession, his decision making was very, very poor. Once he had possession of the ball, he decided to take a wild, weak-footed shot, which was nowhere close to goal. So that's in those types of plays, you got to ask for a little bit more from Chucky, but the guy is still not a finished player. He's still very, very young. What is he, 23? He's still extremely young. He's still developing. And you would hope that by the next World Cup, let's say, he will beat players in a foot race like that. But once he has possession, he will have more ideas. He will know. He will decide better. In other words. So, anyways, but Chucky, he had a few more chances to score in the second half. He got a shot blocked by Piqué. And then he also caused, as we all know, the sending off of Umtiti, who Chucky beat two defenders, as he does. He's so fast that players have to bring him down somehow. They have to stop him somehow. Umtiti he kind of forced Umtiti's hand there. He had already beat two defenders. It was him versus Umtiti, and he was about to get past him, so Umtiti had to foul him, and he was sent off. But obviously not much to take away, not much to highlight in favor of Chucky, of Guty, or of PSV. After a 4-0 loss, Barcelona is just simply at another level. They're just what happened had to happen, and no one could be surprised that Barca beat PSV 4-0. This Barcelona is a real candidate, a true candidate to win the Champions League, and as much as we would like to say that PSV is on the same boat, it's just simply not true. So anyways, man, the good is, Guty and Chucky got their European adventure started on the right foot, at least, versus Den Haag in the league, in the Eredivisie, but in the Champions League it wasn't very, very easy. So you had some good, you had some bad, but overall it's positive because these guys are getting that sort of competition. Instead of playing, a Copa MX match, with all due respect to all the players playing in Mexico, playing and participating in the Copa MX, but it's not the same, obviously, the overstatement of the year right there. But anyways, let's move on, man. We're also going to discuss the Campeones Cup. The Campeones Cup that happened last night, Toronto FC versus Tigres, and it was a match that I was excited for. I think I might be exaggerating a little bit. I was looking forward to somewhat because, these are two good teams. They have Jovinko, you have Altidor, you have on the Tigre side, you have Guido Pizarro, you have Celarayan, you have Gignac, obviously. So, the star power in both of these teams makes this matchup interesting. But then again, this is a tournament that they just spawned out of nowhere recently. And it just feels, it lacks that tradition. It lacks that history. So we're all kind of like, we're all still deciding how we feel about this tournament. But, regardless, it's a tournament. Nonetheless, it's a championship. You're playing for, I think it was $600,000 or something like that. But you're playing for silverware, which is always important for a club. And Tigres hasn't been very successful internationally speaking. So winning this, gives them merit. And like I said, it's an international trophy. So it helps. It cannot hurt. Now, I know Tuca was a little bit upset that he had to participate in this tournament, and fly all the way from Monterrey to Toronto in the week of disputing, the week before disputing the Clásico Regio versus Rayados. So that had Tuca a little bit on edge. He wasn't very happy that his team had to travel that much, but it had to be done. This was already scheduled, and his team won. So I'm sure he'll be happy about that at least. So anyways, let's get into the match. Let's dive right into it. It was a very disputed first half, man. There wasn't a ton of action. I think Toronto had the best chance. It was around the 30th minute, if I'm not mistaken. They hit the crossbar on one occasion. It was a header off of a corner, but Tigres draws first blood in the 35th minute with a goal from Jesus Dueñas. I don't remember who sent him the pass. I don't remember who got the assist. But it was a hell of a long ball. Dueñas, he was able to control it and slot it home for the first goal in the 35th minute. Unfortunately, 4 minutes later, after the Tigres goal, Sebastián Jovinko would leave the match due to injury. This was one of the players that I was looking forward to watching, but unfortunately he got injured. Shame. It's a real shame because players like him, players like Gignac, are what make the match interesting. They are playing for a trophy, so the match is interesting on its own. But you want to see the best players on the pitch, and having Jovinko get subbed off for injury, you just never want to see that. You hate to see it, but. Anyways, Tigres in the second half, they started off very strong. Edu Vargas almost scored on at least two occasions. One of his shots hitting the post very early into the second half. And in the 64th minute, yes, the man of the match, Jesus Dueñas, an unlikely hero, to be honest with you, because, Jesus Dueñas is a very good player. He's consistent, but you wouldn't expect him to be the one scoring the goals. You would expect, Celarayan or Edu Vargas or Gignac, obviously, but not Dueñas. But anyways, a golazo from Jesus Dueñas, a volley from outside of the box. He gets his brace there in the 64th minute, but only 1 minute later, in the 65th minute, that's when Toronto was just completely falling apart. The third goal for Tigres after a very, very unfortunate goal by Zabaleta. And Tigres 3-0, they were just cruising at this point. Like I said, this is when you just thought, this one, this one is pretty much over. But, honestly, in this match, not much was shown by Toronto FC. We all know, or from the, little bit of exposure that I've gotten to the MLS season for this year. I know they're not having a great season. They're probably not going to qualify to the playoffs because they're in ninth place. Only 6 teams get in their conference. So Toronto not looking good this season, and in this match they just looked flat. Without Jovinko and Altidore, things just got difficult for them. They had some chances in the 74th minute, but things were just not clicking. You had players blocking each other's shots. Ricketts, I think, blocked a shot from his teammate Jay Chapman. Just not a good night. Just not a good night for the Canadian squad. They ended up getting a goal in the 80-something minute. I don't remember exactly. It was off of a penalty. But a 3-1 win for Tigres, deserved win because Tigres honestly was the better team in this matchup. Like I said, Toronto just definitely looked flat. The team could produce more. They can give more. They're just not. They're just in bad form right now. They're not having a great season, and everything was the same for this matchup. But Tigres getting revenge on Toronto FC for knocking them out of the previous CONCACAF Champions League matchup. I think it was in the semifinals. I think they knocked them out in. So they win this first edition of the Campeones Cup, and we'll see if this cup, it's not a tournament, it's just a one game. But we'll see if this cup can actually gain more notability, can win over some fans. Anyways, congrats to all Tigres fans and to Tigres, the Tigres organization. They take the first Campeones Cup 3-1, defeating Toronto FC. Now let's dive into week 9 of action in the Liga MX. You had Chivas defeating Monterrey. You had Necaxa defeating Cruz Azul. America, like I said, defeating Morelia in a tight match, which should have ended as in a 4-0 easy cruising victory for America. That wasn't the case. And we'll also just list some of the remaining results for week 9. But this match, man, the Monterrey versus Chivas match, that was a hell of a game. Tons of action, tons of goals. Obviously, 6 goals in the match, 4 for Chivas, 2 for Monterrey. But you gotta say it, man. You gotta say it. Bravo Cardoso. I mean, Chivas has won 4 out of their last 5 games. Unfortunately, they still need to figure stuff out at home. They lost their last match against Pachuca at home. But 4 out of the last 5 games, I will be honest with you, I didn't believe that Chivas would aspire to much this season after losing all of that talent. We all know they lost Cota, they lost Alanis, they lost Rodolfo Pizarro, etc., etc. So after losing that much talent, the hopes weren't very high for this Chivas team, one would think. But Cardoso has his team. He has his boys playing well. Brizuela, in my opinion, has been the standout player for Chivas this season. He got 2 assists in this match. Brizuela has been on another level. You had to have, the remaining players in Chivas step up after Pizarro left because he was their best player, the season prior to his departure. But you are seeing it. You're seeing Gael Sandoval step up. You're seeing players like Brizuela step up. You're seeing some good stuff from Chofis as well. So I like it that these players are responding. They're believing in Cardoso's ideas. And, yeah, man, bravo. What else could be said? I didn't myself, I will be completely honest with you, I didn't expect much from Chivas this season. But now, they're up, they're in there. They're in the race to qualify to the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, in the Liguilla, it's true, man. I promise you, it's true. Anything could happen. Chivas could get to the final. You can win it. Why the hell not? So it's important that they're right there, right in the thick of things, in the race for qualification. Once you're in, you just got to do things well. You might take it all. It's mind blowing, but you might win it all. But I mean, they're gonna have some tough competition right now. The top of the league table is filled with all the teams from the capital. You have Pumas up there. You have Cruz Azul. You have America up there. You have Toluca up there. You have you have all of these teams that in theory and, comparing rosters are superior to you. And then, at the bottom of the qualification race, the I guess 6th through 8th spot, that you're going to have teams like Necaxa to fight with for qualification spots, and Necaxa is a tough team. You have Querétaro, you'll have Morelia, you'll have Santos, you'll have those teams that are very, very difficult to beat. So Chivas is not gonna have it easy, but hey, man, they're playing extremely well. And just some quick points that I wanted to take away from this match. And a question for everyone listening. Has anyone filed a missing persons report on Rodolfo Pizarro? I mean, where has he been this season? Now I know he had been playing injured, but man, it's just insane the poor form that Pizarro is exhibiting. He just doesn't look good from Monterrey. He looks like with Monterrey. He just looks like a completely different player. His form has been extremely poor since signing with Monterrey. And it is important to point out that he didn't want to leave Chivas. They sold him without his consent, which teams can do. But he didn't want to leave, and you have to ask yourself, maybe this is playing into why he didn't want to be in Monterrey. Now players in interviews and after they get their paycheck and stuff like that, obviously they'll be like, yeah, I love it here, and I'm getting used to this new team and this and that. They'll say everything's positive, but he truly didn't want to go to Monterrey. He said it himself. But he said he was going to try to make the most of it there, and he just hasn't. He hasn't been playing well. So we'll see if Rodolfo Pizarro could pick it up, because Monterrey is in need of him. Monterrey lost to Puebla, I think, on the road, and then now they lose to Chivas at home. So not a good stint for Monterrey at the moment. But one thing is clear on the Chivas side. One thing is clear. Carlos Salcido, man, he cannot return to the starting lineup once he's healthy. He can't do it, man. The team is fine without him. Let's just keep it as it is. Chivas, you're doing fine without Carlos Salcido. I think it's time for the generational shift and bring Carlos Salcido for Copa MX matches. Bring him off the bench, but I think you're just fine right now with what you have. So, anyways, good stuff on Chivas winning that match 4-2. And then we'll briefly run over the remainder of the results. I know Necaxa defeated Cruz Azul 2-0 at home. Necaxa was always going to be a very dangerous place to visit for any team, but for Cruz Azul. You had analysts, from the press in Mexico, thinking that Cruz Azul was going to get to the Clásico Capitalino against América with an undefeated status, but Necaxa was always going to be a tough visit for them, and it proved to be, man. 2-0 win for Necaxa, a good display by Necaxa, and honestly, Cruz Azul had already been giving signs of slowing down. I remember that match against Santos they had, where Santos completely ran over them in the second half, but Cruz Azul was just super efficient with a counterattack. They scored, and then Santos was unable to score on Cruz Azul in that second half. They were able to draw that match, but Cruz Azul had already been giving some hints that they were slowing down a little bit. So this loss to Necaxa, it'll take some pressure off of a team. As nice as that undefeated status looks, it does create a ton of expectation. It builds pressure amongst the players because, they go into the match probably thinking, we can't lose. We got to keep the undefeated. We got to keep undefeated. Now that you've lost, it doesn't really matter. You're going to qualify to the Liguilla. And that's what's really important for Cruz Azul, especially since they haven't won a title in so long. That they got to stay hungry. And that's their test, man. The Liguilla. And I'm sure that, obviously they're pretty much almost qualified officially. But, they're going to be in there. They're going to be in the race. And that's when it's important for Cruz Azul to win their matches. So, 2-0 victory, Necaxa over Cruz Azul. You had América, an América team that completely dominated the match, especially, in the earlier stages of the second half. I think the last 10 to 15 minutes or so, that's when Morelia really woke up. But the remainder of the game was really dominated by America, especially the earlier stages, the mid stages of the second half. You had the goalkeeper Sosa being the hero so far of the match. He had saved 3-4 shots. America just couldn't score. They couldn't extend their lead, man. But it got tough for them. It got tough for them after Morelia scored their first goal. America, they definitely made it more difficult on themselves. Regardless, in the end, they ended up getting the result. So let's go over the remaining matches, the remaining results for the Liga MX Week 9 of action. Let me try to pull them up. I apologize. Here we go, baby. Here we go. Toluca and Veracruz. Toluca taking it 3-2 on the road. Querétaro losing 1-0 at home at the hands of Puebla. You had Pachuca and Tigres drawing 1-1. You had Pumas defeating Lobos BUAP 4-2. Santos defeating León 3-0. Atlas losing to Tijuana at home 1-0. And there you have it, man. Those were the results for this weekend's matches in the Liga MX. That marks the end of the podcast. I truly hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have anything to add in the comment section down below. At least if you're listening or you're on YouTube, feel free to send me a Twitter message as well. It doesn't matter how you reach out. We're also available on SoundCloud. We're also available on iTunes for your listening convenience. If you gotta hit the road, hey man, look up Futbol Forever on iTunes. You have us on SoundCloud as well. It's so easy, man. It's so easy to find a podcast and to listen now with our smartphones. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. You already know all this. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Futbol Forever out.